Jiang Yinyan continued to watch the direction of the departing car. After a long time, he said faintly, "No need. It was just a kite anyway," and the string was in his hand. Wasn't it easy to bring the kite back? As the car started, Jiang Yinyan leisurely took out his phone and sent a message. "Come to the hotel suite tonight." During the days that Yuanzhou was missing, Yinyan had been keeping an eye on the cleaning service to ensure the house was cleaned regularly. This morning, she had them clean everything thoroughly again. Her brother was quite particular about cleanliness, with a tendency towards being a neat freak. Usually, his home and work environments were spotless. This place was far from the city center, in a very quiet area. When her father bought this house, he put it under Yu Zhuanzhou's name. Yunyan was superstitious. She had Yu Wanzhou step over a brazier of burning coals and then struck him from head to toe with a large banana leaf before stopping. Yu Wanzhou was obedient, doing whatever she said, always looking at her with gentle eyes. Only after he went into the bathroom did Yunyan take the time to look at her phone. She was wondering if she should give Jiang Yinyan a call, now that he was out. But as soon as the screen lit up, she saw a message from Jiang Yinyan. Just one line, and extra words, perfectly reflecting his character. Cold and aloof. Yunyan stared at the message. Each word, typed so casually, felt like a mountain landing on her, suffocating her. It was less of a notification and more of an order. Yunyan thought for a moment and drafted a reply. "Young Master Yin, Ajo just got back. I'd like to have a nice meal with him. Can I go to the hotel tomorrow?" A stone always weighed heavily in her heart. The message was sent, and there was no response. Yunyan didn't know if he was angry or too busy to see it, but she didn't receive a reply. While waiting for his reply, Yunyan kept thinking about the certainty of the other shoe dropping. She was like someone waiting for the other shoe to drop, restless and uneasy. While she was deep in thought, Jiang Zhe unexpectedly called. Without thinking, Yunyan rejected the call. The online buzz about him and GZ hadn't completely died down. Although GZ hadn't shown her face, all sorts of rumors and paparazzi speculation were circulating online, suggesting that the youngest son of the Zhang family was secretly maintaining contact with GZ and that the statement was only a result of succumbing to family pressure. Yunyan ignored all of this. Jiang Zhe called again, persistent. Yunyan considered for a moment and answered. "Nian Nian." Jiang Zhe's voice on the other end of the phone was soft and gentle, without the previous anger. "I know you don't want to see me, but there's someone who really wants to see you, so please put aside your prejudice against me and come to the Zhang family, okay?" After ending the call, Yunyan was about to put down her phone when it vibrated. Jiang Yinyan had replied, "No." The feeling of oppression suddenly returned to Yunyan's heart, almost suffocating her. Steadying her emotions, she replied, "Didn't you want me to break up with Jiang Zhe?" "Young Master Yin, I need time to handle this." After sending the message, Yunyan realized that her fingers were trembling slightly. Suddenly, her shoulders were gently embraced, and a man's voice sounded above her head. "What's wrong?" After showering, Yuanzhou regained his usual handsome appearance. Although he was visibly thinner, his facial features seemed more chiseled. He had shaved his beard, revealing a well-defined jawline. He was handsome, and since he was young, he had been surrounded by many girls. Before the Yu family had its problems, many socialites had tried to get his attention, even trying to find out his preferences through her. Everyone knew that the Yu family's young master was handsome and had a refined aura. But Yuanzhou stubbornly refused to have a girlfriend. Every time Yunyan asked him, he would smile and say, "Having you is enough." Now, he was focused on salvaging the Yu family's depleted business and had no interest in romance. Seeing him come out, Yunyan put away her phone. Yu Zhuanzhou's gaze fell inconspicuously from her phone to her face, and he asked, "Is it a difficult matter?" "Nothing is more important than you being out." Yunyan looked him over and sighed softly. "It seems like I need to take good care of you." Yuanzhou pulled her down to sit, his expression looking quite serious. Yunyan mistakenly thought he was worried, so she said, "Don't worry, I asked the police station. After going through a few more procedures, your case should be mostly resolved." He looked at her without saying anything. Yunyan felt uncomfortable under his gaze and patted his shoulder. "Are you hungry? I'll make something for you to eat." Before picking him up, she had made a special trip to the supermarket to fill the refrigerator, mostly with things that Wanzhou usually liked to eat. Just as she was about to get up, her wrist was grabbed by Yuanzhou. "Who did you ask for help from?" Yunyan had originally come to Qiao Min's place for a cup of coffee to calm her nerves, but the coffee only heightened her anxiety. Qiao Min still poured her a cup of coffee, saying bluntly, basically, that good-for-nothing Zhang Xianwen didn't get what he wanted from you, and he doesn't dare to offend Jiang Zhe easily, so he's venting his anger on Wanzhou. "I heard." She paused. Yunyan looked up at her, asking, "Heard what?" Qiao Min hesitated for a moment. "I only heard," Zhang Xianwen said when he was drunk in front of everyone, "that he would definitely get you, and that Wanzhou deserves to be taught a lesson. He needs to be incapacitated for life." Yunyan gripped the cup tightly, her fingers turning white. Zhang Xianwen was also from a prominent family in the capital, raised in a military compound, surrounded by children of high-ranking officials. Compared to the Jiang family, the Zhang family only recently entered the business world. Although they were lacking in financial resources, they could still compete with the Jiang family in terms of connections in the capital. The entanglement between Yunyan and Zhang Xianwen was indeed because of her face. Years ago, Yunyan had returned to the country during a school vacation and attended a business banquet, where she ran into Zhang Xianwen. Zhang Xianwen was instantly smitten, insisting that Yunyan be with him, and even blocking her car. His spoiled brat behavior was on full display. Yuan Zhou was also there that night. When he heard about this, he beat up Zhang Xianwen without saying a word, and he beat him up badly. Zhang Xianwen was in the hospital for half a month. After that, Zhang Xianwen also tried to woo Yunyan, but when he heard that Yunyan was betrothed to the Jiang family, he stopped making moves. It had been so long, Yunyan thought he had already moved on or didn't even care about her anymore, but she didn't expect him to retaliate now. Isn't this because he sees that the Yu family is declining? Xiao Min said bluntly. When the Yu family was thriving, their financial resources were quite considerable, and their connections were no less than the Zhang family. Now that the tide has turned, that kind of good-for-nothing playboy will want to step all over you, won't he? Yunyan felt uneasy. When she heard Jiang Yunyan say that earlier, she had a faint feeling of unease. Asking Xiao Min to investigate only confirmed her worst fears. Zhang Xianwen is a petty person, narrow-minded and vindictive. To put it bluntly, the reason he's targeting Wanzhou this time is because he's confident that the Jiang family can't step in. His intentions are too obvious. He's just waiting for you to beg him. Xiao Min gritted her teeth. Yunyan shook her head, murmuring, I can't beg someone like that. She couldn't beg him. Although she didn't know much about Zhang Xianwen, she had heard of him through the grapevine. Like Xiao Min described, anyone who offended him would not have a good ending. Begging him would only be a humiliation, and she wouldn't even be sure if she could get Wanzhou out. Although she had already thrown her pride to the wind, willing to use all her connections for Wanzhou, she could never beg someone like Zhang Xianwen. Xiao Min was silent for a moment, then suddenly asked her, How did you get out of Jiang Yunyan's car? Yunyan's head was spinning, and she simply recounted what had happened. Xiao Min thought again and said, I finally understand why people in the circle are waiting for Master Yan's decision. They fear Master Yan on the one hand, but on the other hand, they really can't afford to offend Zhang Xianwen. Didn't Yunyan understand this principle? When she heard that the person they had offended was Zhang Xianwen, she understood everything. The only family that could compete with the Zhang family's power right now was the Jiang family. Anyone else who would dare to interfere once they knew the truth. Thinking of this, Yunyan suddenly smiled bitterly. Then, she laughed louder and louder, almost losing control. Xiao Min sat beside her quietly, watching her, neither surprised nor flustered. To be honest, she would rather watch Yunyan cry or laugh, even smash things as long as her emotions could be released. First the Yu family's accident, now Wanzhou being framed. Yunyan had been gritting her teeth and persevering day and night. Xiao Min hadn't seen her shed a single tear. After a long time, Yunyan's emotions finally stabilized, but her eyes were filled with desolation. Sister Min, she said softly, her voice sounding tired and hoarse. Xiao Min looked at her, her eyes filled with heartache. He said to me, just now, good luck. Yunyan's gaze extended out the window, where the green was vibrant and the sun was abundant, but she still felt cold. Xiao Min was taken aback, but quickly realized who the he she was talking about was. Yunyan said softly, he wished me good luck, because he knew very well that I wouldn't have good luck next. Unless, she agreed to his request. To beg him. In the evening, the internet exploded again. Jiangze actually addressed the hotel scandal with 4 words, absurd rumors. Compared to GZ's silence all day, Jiangze used a ruthless move to respond to the rumors, firmly stating that he would pursue legal responsibility for malicious media spreading false information. Who knows how GZ is going to make a scene with Jiangze? Does she really think she can marry into a wealthy family? She might not even be able to keep her position as a best actress, Xiao Min said with a hint of schadenfreude. But Yunyan didn't have the heart to pay attention to Jiangze's statement, because when the internet exploded, she received a call from Zhang Xianwen. What's wrong, miss you? Aren't you planning to come and see me? I've been waiting for you. Zhang Xuanwen's lazy voice came from the other end of the phone, accompanied by the noise of music and the giggling of women. As soon as Yunyan heard this voice, she could imagine Zhang Xuanwen's playboy appearance. She suppressed her anger. Mr. Zhang has so many beauties by his side. He doesn't need me, does he? Mediocre women can't compare to Miss Yu, can they? Zhang Xianwen laughed. I heard Miss Yu has been trying to find people to help her brother all over the place. Why bother so much? As long as you're with me, your brother will be fine, right? Yunyan pursed her lips, her attitude extremely cold. Zhang Xianwen, you truly deserve the reputation of being a rogue. You're secretly retaliating against Wan Zhou for what happened back then. Are you even a man? Zhang Xianwen, don't push your luck. Yun Yin gritted her teeth. Zhang Xianwen chuckled on the other end. I can't help it. I'm just too greedy for Miss Yu's body. If I can't have it, my heart just itches unbearably. Who doesn't know that Miss Yu's of the Yu family is charming to the bone? Even her skin smells intoxicating. Yun Yin suppressed the raging anger within her and said, word by word, you want to get me? Zhang Xianwen, keep dreaming. Yun Yin, you should consider yourself lucky that I still fancy you now. Who doesn't know you, Yun Yin, or just a slut, a worn-out shoe that anyone can wear? Do you really think you're so noble? While I still have patience, come obediently to me. As long as you serve me comfortably, everything else is negotiable. Yun Yin hung up the phone, but her ears were still filled with Zhang Xuanwen's lewd words. Cheap, slut, worn-out shoe. Stepping closer and closer, Xiao Min stepped forward and gently put her arm around Yun Yin's shoulders. Is that black sheep Zhang Xianwen? Yun Yin nodded. Xiao Min was also angry, but anger couldn't solve the problem. She said, I'll try to find someone else to help. See if we can bypass Zhang Xianwen and the Jiang family. Yun Yin shook her head. We can't bypass them. Xiao Min's heart tightened. After a long silence, Yun Yin whispered, Min, what do you think would happen if I went to Zhang Xianwen? Xiao Min shuddered, staring at her in shock. Yin, don't think like that. He'd treat me like a trophy to show off everywhere, go in and out with him, sleep with him, and then, when he's tired of me, hand me off to someone else, Yun Yin said, her eyes dark. Xiao Min sat down beside her and said, yeah, I heard that Zhang Xuanwen's last girlfriend was a student at the film academy. After he got her, he played with her for 3 months and forced her to accompany other young masters. The female student didn't dare disobey, afraid of offending those playboys and ruining her future. Those young masters' tricks for playing with women were sinister and without any bottom line. They could use any dirty means to have fun. How could Yun Yin not know the filth in this circle? After a long while, she said with a bitter smile, what about begging Jiang Yun Yin? Isn't it the same? The only difference is whose bed I'll be lying in. Her chest felt tight, suffocating. She wished she could just stab herself with a knife to be free. Xiao Min wanted to say something, but Yun Yin interrupted her. But once I'm with Zhang Xianwen, if Jiang Yun Yin wants to make things difficult for me, do you think Zhang Xianwen would stand up for me? Xiao Min didn't even think. Definitely not. That grandson Zhang Xianwen wants you to beg him just to get revenge. He wouldn't treat you sincerely. Yeah. Yun Yin's tone was very light, very light. But if I'm with Jiang Yun Yin, even if Zhang Xianwen wants to provoke me, he would at least be wary of Jiang Yun Yin, and maybe Jiang Yun Yin just wants one night, right, Min? And at least he wouldn't stoop to Zhang Xuanwen's kind of dirty tricks, right? Every sentence sounded like she was asking Xiao Min, but in reality, she was trying to convince herself. Xiao Min felt a pang of heartache and resented that she didn't have the power to help her share the burden. She could only hug her tightly and whisper, Yin, it'll pass. All the bad things will pass. But things didn't go as she wished. Around 8 o'clock that night, Yun Yin received a call. After listening, her face turned pale, scaring Xiao Min. Xiao Min kept asking what was wrong. Yun Yin's lips were trembling. Someone submitted evidence of Zhou's commercial crimes. Zhou is being taken from the detention center for investigation. Xiao Min was stunned. Commercial crimes? It's Zhang Xianwen. Yun Yin clenched her fists. The so-called evidence is definitely fabricated. I know Zhou's actions. How could there be any commercial crimes? Xiao Min was uneasy. This was completely different. Although he was taken away before, it wasn't on the same level as commercial crimes. Once it was determined, Yu Zhou's future would be completely ruined. Thinking of this, Xiao Min got up and grabbed her phone. I don't believe it. Can Zhang Xianwen really do whatever he wants? I'll call Master Wu again. Min. Yun Yin stopped Xiao Min, shaking her head at her. This is my business. Let me handle it. Although Master Wu had connections in both the official and underworld, he would never dare to offend the Jiang family. She understood Xiao Min's desperation and knew that Master Wu was a lecherous person, but she couldn't let Xiao Min take the blame. You? Xiao Min saw her determination in her eyes. Yun Yin clenched her hands so tightly that her fingernails dug into her palms, causing a stinging pain. She didn't say anything, just took a deep breath, grabbed her phone, and went to the balcony. It had been raining at night, and it hadn't stopped yet. Yun Yin stood on the semi-enclosed balcony, the rain that blew in patting her face. After a long while, she dialed that number. It rang several times, and in the process of waiting, Yun Yin's heart kept rising until the other party answered. She heard the sound of her heart falling to the ground. It was salvation, but it was also being shattered into pieces. The other party answered but didn't speak, but seemed to know it was her, so he didn't hang up. Yun Yin's breathing became tighter and tighter, and her temples throbbed with pain. She spoke, her voice trembling slightly. Zhou is going to be taken away. So, the man's voice on the other end of the phone was lazy and mellow. The surroundings were very quiet, and it was impossible to tell what he was doing. Yun Yin took another deep breath and stopped at her lips. So please, young Master Yin, help. She heard the man chuckle softly in a low voice. She bit her lip hard. Still at Xiao Min's? Jiang Yinyin asked faintly. Yun Yin hummed in agreement. Jiang Yinyin, okay. Then he hung up the phone. It took Yun Yin a long time to realize that the other party had hung up, and for a moment she didn't know what he wanted her to do next. But she had already made this call, and he had gotten what he wanted, hadn't he? Her whole body felt like it had been drained of strength. She squatted down against the glass door. She looked at her palms, which had been scratched bloody by her, and for some reason, tears fell. Xiao Min didn't go to the balcony. She watched Yun Yin's emotional breakdown through a glass door. She thought that she had already guessed who Yun Yin had called. 10 minutes later, Yun Yin's phone vibrated. A message. Go to the underground garage. Yun Yin's heart tightened. When she went out, Xiao Min grabbed her, wanting to say something but hesitating. She tried to force a smile to comfort Xiao Min. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Now that she had chosen this path, she had to walk it, even if she dirted her shoes. As soon as she entered the elevator, she ran into Jiang Zhe. Yun Yin was stunned. Jiang Zhe was here to find her at Xiao Min's house, but he ran into her in the elevator and immediately realized, Yin Yin, I'm here to explain. I don't want to hear your explanation. Yun Yin felt a little anxious and didn't dare to go down to the parking lot for a while. It wasn't that she was afraid of Jiang Zhe misunderstanding. She was just afraid that it would cause unnecessary trouble and complications. There's really nothing between me and Ji Zizhen. Yes, the photos were taken, but I really didn't do anything with her. Jiang Zhe grabbed her arm, his voice low. I only have you in my heart. Yun Yin found it ridiculous. So you and Ji Zizhen were chatting about the future and dreams in the hotel room? Jiang Zhe, do you think I'm a little girl who's so easy to fool? Let go. Yun Yin, You really what? Jiang Zhe, I didn't beg you to help me find a solution back then. You confidently promised me that you could save Zhou, but what happened? You can't do it, but you can't lie to my face and mess around with other women using this. Yun Yin said coldly. I try to help you. Really? Yun Yin was simply impressed by his shamelessness. He had been caught in the act and could still try to argue. Okay, let's say you try to find a way before. Was it with your uncle? Then you call your uncle right now, in front of me. Jiang Zhe didn't expect her to make this request. His mouth opened and closed. Call. Yun Yin yelled at him, her grievances and anger erupting at this moment. The phone vibrated. Another message. Go downstairs. A simple and crude command. But just these two words saved her from her near collapse. Yun Yin didn't dare to waste time, gritted her teeth, pressed the elevator button, and went in. Unexpectedly, Jiang Zhe also followed in, still not giving up. Yin Yin, it's not that I don't want to call. It's not good to disturb my uncle at this time. Yun Yin didn't want to waste any more time with him. Jiang Zhe, we're breaking up. Breaking up? Yin Yin, are you kidding me? Just because of scandal? Yun Yin watched the numbers descend one by one, her heart sinking into hell. I'll find a chance to go to the Jiang family to cancel the engagement in person. I think you're crazy. Jiang Zhe frowned, his tone displeased, and suddenly realized something, grabbing her arm. Wait, where are you going so late? Are you going to see some man? The elevator doors opened. Let go. Yun Yin shook off his hand. So, you're going to force the issue? Jiang Zhe didn't plan to let her go, his expression turning ugly. Who are you going to see? Yun Yin, I'm warning you, if you dare to cheat on me, I won't spare you. Get lost. I'm being too nice to you, aren't I? Jiang Zhe said, reaching out to grab her. Miss you. In the midst of the chaos, a voice steadily interjected. The two people who were pulling at each other suddenly stopped. Yun Yin turned her head and saw Jiang Yinyin's driver. Jiang Zhe naturally recognized him too, stunned. Lao Lu, what are you doing here? Lao Lu was neither humble nor arrogant. I'm here to pick up Miss You. He looked at Yun Yin again, respectfully offering a hand. Miss You, please. Not far away was a black van. Although it wasn't the same car Jiang Yinyin had driven yesterday, it was obviously his car. Yun Yin got into the car without saying a word. Jiang Zhe was even more shocked and followed closely, but was stopped by Lao Lu in the next second. You're here to pick up Yun Yin? Where are you going? What does my uncle mean? Jiang Zhe was alert and very unhappy. Lao Lu was calm and unperturbed. Young master, you know your uncle. He doesn't like people following his car. With that, he turned around and got into the car. Soon the car drove away. Jiang Zhe clenched his fists in anger. Jiang Yinyin wasn't in the car. This was what Yun Yin discovered after getting in the car. There were only her and Lao Lu in the spacious van. Although it wasn't the same car, the air conditioning in the car was strong, and even though Jiang Yinyin wasn't in the car, there was still a lingering scent of him around, cold, profound, and bewitching. Yunyan leaned back against the car seat and asked Lao Lu, "Where are you taking me?" Lao Lu steadily controlled the steering wheel, answering ambiguously, "To see young Master Yin." They continued forward until the rain poured down. The rain on the car window became a waterfall, and even the neon lights outside were obscured through the glass. Yunyan didn't keep asking where he was taking her. Having come this far, she would brave hell itself. The car stopped after about half an hour. Through the window, Yunyan vaguely saw a magnificent hotel, and a doorman was approaching. "Young master, Yin has some business to finish. He wants Miss Yu to wait for him in the room first." Lao Lu relayed Jiang Yinyan's instructions. "A staff member will take you up." As he spoke, the hotel doorman opened the car door, one hand on the roof, full of respect. She went up to the top floor of the hotel. The manager led her all the way to the end of the corridor. There was only one room on this floor, a presidential suite. The corridor was extremely quiet. The heavy floor-to-ceiling windows blocked the sound of the rain and thunder outside, and even the manager's high heels were completely muffled by the comfortable and luxurious shag carpet. With a beep, the door of the suite opened, and the manager gently gestured inside. "Please come in." Yunyan subconsciously looked up at the door. There was no room number on the door, indicating that the presidential suite on this floor was not open to the public, but was reserved by Jiang Yinyan year-round. The moment the door slowly closed behind her, Yunyan felt as if the whole world had become quiet, or rather, as if she was isolated from the world. The room was large and much quieter than the corridor. The night lights came on one by one, and Yunyan used the faint light to examine the room before her. The design was dark, mainly black and gray, with white as the only bright color. Everything was neatly arranged, expensive, and spotless. There was no carpet. Beneath Yunyan's feet was a cold, black crystal floor, so clean that it reflected the paleness of her face. A flash of lightning streaked across the night sky, as if it were daytime, and the shimmering light of the lightning seemed almost within reach. She had seen it on the elevator on the way up, a height of 99 floors. At this moment, she was on the 99th floor. The higher one goes, the colder it gets. And this room was filled with the suffocating and oppressive feeling beneath power and wealth. Cold. A cold emanating from her bones, perhaps from the dampness of the rain, or simply because of this suite. Yunyan sat on the sofa, clutching her phone tightly. There were 20 missed calls from Jiang Zhe, and a message from him, full of anger. "Yunyan, why are you meeting with my uncle?" Yunyan blacklisted him. Jiang Yinyan's previous message was still on her phone. "Come downstairs." Yunyan really wanted to ask him when he would be finished, and even had the urge to call him again, telling him that there wasn't much time left for a Zhou, and it would be very troublesome once he was taken away. But in the end, she held back. She didn't know how long had passed. Yunyan felt like someone was touching her face. She suddenly opened her eyes and realized that she had fallen asleep without realizing it. In the amber light, the man's face was clearly visible. His eyebrows and eyes were cold and stern, his features deep. His handsome face was hidden in the half-light, half-shadow, and with his deep gaze, a sense of oppression quietly emerged. It was Jiang Yinyan. Yunyan's heart tightened. She didn't know when he had come back, but Yunyan was certain that he hadn't just entered. Although he was still wearing a suit and leather shoes, he no longer carried the coldness of the outside. In other words, he had been sitting by the sofa and watching her for quite some time. Realizing this, a chill ran down Yunyan's back. Seeing that she was awake, Jiang Yinyan didn't withdraw his hand. His slender index finger curved slightly and moved from her cheek to the corner of her lips. His fingertips were slightly cool, carrying a faint scent of tobacco, and wrapped in the man's aura. In this rainy night, his coldness and abstinence during the day seemed to dissipate, and the movement of his fingers revealed a seductive and erotic intention, all hidden beneath a veneer of high-class civility. Yunyan suppressed the urge to push his hand away and let him gently pinch her chin, as if appraising her. Jiang Yinyan looked down at her, his thumb gently stroking her lower lip. When he looked at her with lowered eyes, the faint smile in his eyes was dyed with depth, dark and deep as the night sky. "You're even more alluring than you were 4 years ago. No wonder everyone says you miss you are." He leaned down, his handsome face close, his voice low and tinged with desire, a ravishing beauty. Yunyan didn't avoid him, but even if she tried to pretend to be calm, she couldn't hide her nervous breathing and heartbeat, especially with his face so close, their breaths intermingling. Jiang Yinyan's deep gaze slid over her red lips, repeatedly darkening. "You came to me, and you're still afraid?" Yunyan was restrained by the powerful sense of oppression. She said, "Afraid? Afraid of what?" "Afraid that young Master Yin will deny everything after tonight. Afraid that a Zhou won't be rescued," Yunyan said truthfully. Jiang Yinyan's lips gradually tightened. After staring at her for a long time, he stood up. Yinyin took the opportunity to quickly sit up from the sofa. After tonight, Jiang Yinyin raised his hand, hooked his index finger into his tie, and loosened his collar slightly. He then sat down on the opposite sofa. Miss Yu's value is indeed quite high. Yinyin sat upright, but his words startled her. She followed his words and said, "Young Master Yin asked me how much I cost for a night. I don't want money, I just want my brother to come out safely." Jiang Yinyin seemed to sneer. He reached out and took a cigarette from the cigarette case on the side table, leaning back on the sofa in a seemingly lazy manner. His tie was pulled open, and the top 2 buttons of his shirt were unbuttoned, revealing a glimpse of his muscular physique. If he was abstinent and cold during the day, then at night he became lustful and seductive. One night in exchange for someone's future, "Miss you, I find you have a very good business sense." He didn't smoke the cigarette, just played with it between his fingers. "Isn't this what young Master Yin wants?" Yunyin deflected the question skillfully. How could Jiang Yinyin not see through her pretense? Looking at her, there was more interest in his eyes. "It is what I want, but—" He paused deliberately. Yunyin's heart jumped to her throat. "Come over here," Jiang Yinyin ordered casually. Yunyin secretly clenched her fist, got up, and walked in front of him. "Closer." She took a few steps forward. "Closer." Jiang Yinyin played with the cigarette in his hand. She took 2 more steps forward until she was almost touching his knees. "Sit on top." Jiang Yinyin gestured with his eyes. "Sit on top." "Sit on his lap." Yunyin knew he intended to humiliate her, but from the moment she stepped into this hotel room, there was no turning back. Or rather, when she decided to call Jiang Yinyin, her fate was sealed. She gently lifted her leg, her knee against the sofa, and straddled his lap. Jiang Yinyin seemed satisfied with her surrender. The corners of his mouth slightly curved into a smile. He sat up, and the hand holding the cigarette circled her waist. The posture was intimate and ambiguous. But between him and her, it became an under-the-table transaction. "Don't forget that I'm also a businessman. Merchants are driven by profit. It's their nature." Jiang Yinyin tightened his arms slightly, and Yunyin's exquisite body was forced closer. "If it's only one night, I have to get my money's worth. Can Miss Yu handle it?" He smiled and looked at her eyebrows and eyes, his warm hand pressing against her lower back. Yinyin only felt her head spinning. Jiang Yinyin's gaze moved from her sensual neck to her rising and falling chest. From his angle, even if Yunyin's dress was tightly covered, the beautiful and alluring curves of her chest were fully visible to the man. His eyes darkened even more, turbulent with hidden tides. His large hand covered the back of her head and pressed it down, his thin lips gently resting against her ear, whispering as if smiling and serious, "I will break you." The man's hot breath rushed into her ear. Yunyin gasped in surprise, trying to get up, but he held her tightly. "So, who told you that I only wanted you for one night?" Jiang Yinyin raised his eyes slightly, his intention clear. The thing Yunyin feared most had happened. "You want me to be with you? Is that not allowed?" Jiang Yinyin narrowed his eyes. But after refusing, she felt desolate. If he asked her back, "Do you have the right to choose?" how would she answer? She knew very well that she had no right. Seeing Jiang Yinyin's expression gradually turning cold, Yunyin told herself that she had to stay calm. At present, no one but the man in front of her could compete with Zhang Xianwen. "There are so many beautiful socialites who admire young Master Yin. It's not suitable for me to stay with you all the time. Besides, young Master Yin will eventually have to marry and have children." Yinyin tried her best to list the reasons why it was inconvenient for her to be with him, but the more she spoke, the more her scalp tingled. He was staring at her, his whole body radiating a chill. Yunyin fell silent. He was the crown prince of the capital circle. No one dared to negotiate terms with him. "You want a time limit?" Yunyin felt like she saw a glimmer of hope. She nodded yes. If she couldn't get it down to just one night, then a few days, or even a week, she could endure it. 1 year. "What?" Yunyin exclaimed in shock. Jiang Yinyin's hand was around her waist, seemingly gentle, but she couldn't break free. 1 year in exchange for someone's entire life, isn't it worth it? He chuckled. Yunyin lowered her eyes. After a long time, she smiled bitterly. "It's worth it." She looked up at him, the smile still on her face, but it was forced. "When it comes to doing business, who can be your opponent, young Master Yin?" Jiang Yinyin frowned slightly, but quickly returned to his usual expression. He approached her, and all he could smell was the sweet fragrance of her skin. "You will be with me for a year. If I get bored in the middle, I will let you go at any time. But if I don't get bored, you have to be available whenever I call." Yunyin pursed her lips tightly. "Okay, but I have a condition." "Speak." Zhang Xianwen won't let it go. "You have to guarantee that he won't harass Zhou again." Jiang Yinyin stared at her. "Okay." He pressed her face down again, his thin lips almost touching hers. "You have to guarantee absolute loyalty to me, and you're not allowed to get close to any man. As for Jiang Zhe, cut it off, understand?" Yunyan's heart kept sinking. Understood. Jiang Nianyan examined her face. When she lowered her head slightly, she had an uncontrollable innocence and seductiveness, but her whole body exuded a charm that came from the bones, unpretentious, natural, but fatal. Yunyan lowered her eyes, her slender fingers gently resting on the man's shirt button. Through the thin fabric, Yunyan could easily feel the firmness and hardness of his muscles beneath her fingers, as well as the body heat gradually seeping through. Yunyan's breathing quickened, meeting his gaze. I'll go take a shower first. The man continued to watch her, and, after a long pause, said, Okay. Yunyan escaped to the shower room. It was quite large, with floor-to-ceiling mirrors in both the front and back. Being in it felt like being in an endless space, with no end in sight and no way to return. The toiletries in the shower room were all for men. She couldn't find anything for women. The shower head was turned on. Yunyan, holding a snow-white bathrobe, stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection. As she stared, her vision became clouded with steam, but what truly clouded her vision were tears. Yunyan felt that her tears were half a year late. She hadn't cried when the Yu family's empire collapsed overnight, nor when her father, Yu Yuan, succumbed to a sudden illness and passed away. She had personally supported the coffin without shedding a single tear. When the creditors blocked her door and frightened her mother, she had grabbed a kitchen knife and spoken with fierce determination. All her armor was due to Yu Zhuanzhou's words, Sister, I'm still here. Yu Wanzhou was her last layer of protection. Now, someone wanted to completely strip her bare, and to protect that final layer, she had to crush her dignity under her feet. To be trampled by that high and mighty man, under his shining leather shoes, the tears flowed uncontrollably. She let the cold water wash her face again and again. Finally, she told herself, Yunyan, what are you being so sentimental about? Isn't this your own choice? You agreed, so what are you crying about? You didn't go to Zhang Xianwen, but instead sought out Jiang Nianyan. Isn't that because you bet he has a sliver more conscience than Zhang Xianwen? Yunyan buried her face in the bathrobe in her hands, finally suppressing her emotions. She looked up, she reached out and wiped the mirror. The large patch of fog cleared, and the man's tall and imposing figure suddenly appeared in the mirror. The sudden appearance startled Yunyan, and she let go of the bathrobe, which fell to the floor. Jiang Nianyan leaned against the wall not far away. She didn't know how long he had been there. Perhaps long enough to see all of her previous distress. So he chuckled. How long does Miss Yu plan to play the innocent act? She was famous for certain things, and Yunyan was too lazy to explain, so in Jiang Yinyan's eyes, she was just as disgraceful. Yunyan stared at Jiang Yinyan in the mirror, clearly seeing the sarcasm at the corners of his lips. She asked, You look down on someone like me, don't you? Jiang Yinyan was silent for a moment before walking forward. He stood behind her. Compared to her panic and disarray, he seemed calm and collected, his eyes filled with a dark light. He stared at the woman in the mirror for a moment before suddenly turning her around. Face to face, Yunyan's back was pressed against the hard, cold sink, and in front of her was the man's solid chest. At this distance, her height was at a disadvantage. If she wanted to meet his gaze, she had to tilt her head high. He was much taller than her. The next second, Jiang Yinyan put his hand around her waist and lifted her to sit on the sink, so that she was now at eye level with him. Jiang Yinyan's handsome face lowered slightly, and his thin lips approached her cheek. His lips touched her lightly, barely there, cool, the temperature of his lips. He murmured with a smile, Is it that important? Whether I look up to you or not, does Miss Yu care? Yunyan's heart sank, but the man's breath made her heart race. His large hands gently circled her waist, and his thin lips traveled along her neck, taking in the scent of her skin. She was extremely nervous, wanted to push him away. The most direct thought, but then the man's hands tightened. He pinched her waist. His low voice was tinged with lust, slightly hoarse, as if teasing. Your waist is quite soft. Yunyan pressed against his chest, easily feeling the firm, hard muscles beneath her fingers. Young Master Yan, help me take off my clothes. She jumped. He raised his face from her neck, lust in his eyes, but coldness between his brows. Unwilling. Yunyan lowered her face, biting her lower lip again and again. I'm willing. Jiang Yinyan had no intention of letting her down. His strong arms rested on either side, trapping her in front of him. She reached out to unbutton his shirt, trying to control her trembling fingertips. The man scent was cool like pine, originally the kind that exuded abstinence, but the ambiguous entanglement in the bathroom made it seem lustful. Even if he stood there motionless, the temperature of every inch of his taut skin seeping through his shirt was an enticing temptation. Yunyan's eyes didn't wander. She was very focused on unbuttoning his shirt. But even without looking up, she could sense that he was watching her, always watching. The shirt was wide open, revealing the man's strong waist, But at the same time, Yunyin saw the scar on his lower right abdomen. It was a long one, so deep that the wound would not disappear even after years. That why Yunyin's fingers stopped, her breathing slightly quickening. She remembered this scar. That year, he had desperately protected her, and she had watched helplessly as the knife plunged into his body. But he still carried her all the way, and blood flowed all the way. She was so frightened that she cried and desperately pressed on the wound, repeatedly saying, "And don't die. I don't want you to die." He was losing consciousness, but even then, he still held her in his arms and comforted her in a low voice. "Silly girl. Ian won't die. Ian still has to protect Mississippi." He hugged her, but not tightly. She was in tears. "Ian, hold me tight. I'm scared like this." He said softly, "Girl, holding you tight will get you dirty." Ian, he used to be the guy she relied on the most. It was because of Ian that she felt that no matter what happened, there would always be someone silently protecting her. Ian never overstepped his bounds. He rarely even walked beside her. He always followed behind her, paying attention to her and everything around her. Unlike Jiang Ninian today, who was aggressive, controlling, suffocating, and left people with no way out. If it weren't for the scar in front of her, Yunyin would have thought that he was just a stranger with the same face as Ian. The scar was hideous. Yunyin couldn't help but reach out and gently cover it. The uneven muscles were tangled, and he should have more than just this one scar on his body. She felt a pang of sadness for no reason. Everything had changed, it seemed. The woman's fingers were gentle, and she was cautious when touching his scar. Jiang Ninian narrowed his eyes slightly, his gaze sliding from her cheek, over her neck, down to her chest, and finally resting on her fingers lightly touching his scar. Her fingers were as white as condensed fat, forming a strong visual contrast with his bronze skin, making them seem even more delicate. And they were indeed delicate. With such slender fingers, he felt he could break them without even trying. But they were very soft, and he could feel it even with just a gentle touch. Yunyin felt she had been mentally prepared for a long time. But the moment her back touched the bed, the slightly cool sensation of his sheets sent a shiver through her. The man pressed down. His powerful body and domineering aura pressed down on her simultaneously. Her heart leaped into her throat at that moment, and when she felt a chill on her chest, she abruptly grabbed Jiang Yinyan's arm. Jiang Yinyan lifted his face from her chest, looking down at her condescendingly. She didn't dare meet his gaze, but her breathing became rapid, her eyes only reaching his sexy Adam's apple. His Adam's apple slid up and down, and his exposed chest was slightly red from their earlier entanglement. The man's slightly rough breathing landed on her, scalding hot, revealing his undisguised lust. Jiang Yinyan didn't continue, but he didn't get up immediately either. He just stayed in the position of pressing down on her, staring at her. The man's strength was on her body, like a confinement. Yunyin felt extremely uncomfortable and moved subconsciously, then immediately froze. She didn't dare to move, but her heart was pounding wildly. The bedroom light wasn't on. All the light came from the night light in the corner of the living room, dim and ambiguous. The light and shadow on Jiang Yinyan's face added a touch of danger. He slightly curled his lips, lowered his handsome face again, and said in a low, husky voice, "Miss you, can I take this as playing hard to get?" When their bodies were close again, Yunyin easily felt his strength again. Vast and heavy. It pressed between her legs, causing a dull pain. She was forced to look up into his eyes. Deep in his pupils was a heavy sense of oppression, making it hard for her to breathe. Jiang Yinyan's large hand went around the back of her neck, gently holding it, not using much strength, but enough to prevent her from moving, forcing her to meet his eyes. His thin lips brushed past her nose, barely touching her red lips, and he whispered, "I'm not a big fan of doing things by force." After speaking, he wanted to get up, but Yunyin panicked and wrapped her arms around his neck. "Young Master Yin," Jiang Yinyan let her hold him, lowered his eyes to stare at her for a long time, then pushed her away and left the bedroom. It took Yunyin a while to react, and she quickly got up and chased after him. Jiang Yinyan was in the dressing room. As expected, it was a suite he had booked, and the closet was full of shirts and suits. Yinyan came from a socialite background, and she could tell the quality of the clothes at a glance. Every piece of clothing in the closet was haute couture, understated luxury with exquisite materials, but the colors were a bit monotonous, mostly black, white, and gray, similar to the decoration style of the suite. Jiang Yinyan was putting on a shirt and didn't say anything when she came in, buttoning it indifferently. Just that very simple black shirt, with excellent tailoring, accentuated his tall and slender figure. He was completely different from the lustful man just now. His brow was calm and restrained, giving him an air of coldness, making people afraid to be presumptuous and approach him. Seeing that he was about to leave, Yoon Yin's heart began to pound uneasily. After a while, young Master Yin about Ajo. She felt unsure. After all, he hadn't gotten what he wanted, had he? Jiang Yin casually raised his wrist to button his cufflinks, glanced at the woman in the mirror. She was enveloped in a semi-bright, semi-dark halo, casting a charming and alluring figure. But there was fear in her eyes, as well as pleading, which she suppressed fiercely under her seemingly calm face. Such a woman made one's heart itch. He even wanted to kill her. Yin quickly replied. They said they would be taking him away tomorrow morning. She was actually extremely anxious, but didn't dare to urge him. But the fact that he asked was a good thing. It meant there was hope, didn't it? Jiang Yin didn't say anything else. After buttoning up his shirt, he took his phone and put it in his pocket and walked straight out of the dressing room. As he passed Yin, he felt a slight tug on his sleeve. Looking down, he saw that Yin had grabbed his sleeve. The movement was very small, just a gentle pull. He raised his eyes coldly. Tonight, Yin said with difficulty, I admit I wasn't ready. I'm sorry, young Master Yin. Jiang Yin reached out. His large hand went around the back of her neck and pulled her forward, forcing her to crash into his arms. He lowered his face, his tone cold. Miss you, what's left for you to be so noble about? Yin heard the sarcasm in his tone, and her expression became extremely ugly. She felt very wronged, but he was right. What was she being noble about? Her pride had long been torn to shreds. Isn't the key to success in social circles just playing along? Jiang Yin sneered, rubbing her lips with his thumb. Has Miss You become rusty in her skills, or is she disdainful of yielding to me? I didn't. Yin frowned. There is no such thing as being always successful, no such thing as attracting all the attention, and no such thing as being involved with anyone. Those people, addicted to pretending to be pure? Jiang Yin frowned and interrupted her, pinching her chin. I'm not interested in your past scandalous history. Remember, during the next year you're by my side, it's best if I don't hear any rumors about you. The phone rang. Jiang Yin withdrew his hand and answered the phone. Yin didn't hear what the other person said on the phone, only his low voice. Jiang Yin's tone had already calmed down, or rather, there was no emotion at all. But it was so calm that it was frightening. After the other person finished speaking, Jiang Yin said lightly, since he's so stubborn, then break one of his legs first. Yin shuddered. Although she didn't know what he was dealing with, just hearing these words made her feel chills run down her spine, especially since he said in such a casual tone, as if it was an unimportant thing. A chill ran down her back. Remembering his ruthless skills in the past, breaking someone's leg was a matter of minutes for him. Perhaps sensing the fear in her eyes, Jiang Yin actually smiled. The slight curl of his lips added a touch of coldness. He freed up his other hand and pinched her chin again, examining her carefully, seeming to enjoy her fear. He leaned closer to her, his eyes locked on hers. Tell them that I don't like repeating the same words twice. His tone was still indifferent, but he was always staring at her. Understand? It sounded like he was talking to the person on the phone, but Yin felt that he was saying this to her from beginning to end. Then, Jiang Yin left the hotel and didn't return all night. Yin also didn't sleep all night. It had nothing to do with tonight's experience. Her sleep had been extremely poor for the past 6 months. After Yu Juanzhou's accident, she had been suffering from insomnia. She sat on the floor-to-ceiling window, hugging her knees, looking at the traffic and city lights below. She watched as the nightlife gradually dissipated, and the darkest night was gradually replaced by the dawn of day. The only thing she could think of was, what if Jiang Yin got angry and stopped caring about Ajo's matter? She didn't understand his attitude before he left. His eyes contained sarcasm and disgust, and she had become the most unbearable existence in his eyes. She wasn't sure what Ajo's fate would be at dawn. It wasn't until the sky was pierced by light, so bright that she couldn't open her eyes, that she received a call from the police station. In just a few days, Yuanzhou looked noticeably thinner. Wai Yunyin personally picked him up, and her heart ached when she saw his gaunt cheeks. When Yuanzhou saw her, a light came into his weary eyes. He strode forward and hugged her tightly, with considerable force, as if afraid she would fly away if he let go. Yunyin also held him tightly, and the unease, anxiety, and panic of the past few days vanished. All the instability dissipated at that moment. She looked up at Yuanzhou, noticing his unshaven face and visible exhaustion, and felt an immense pang of sympathy. Yuanzhou smiled faintly. I'm fine, really. Let's go home. Yunyin's throat felt tight. Yuanzhou gazed at her, a gentle light deep in his eyes. Okay, let's go home. The two got into the car and left. Across the street, under the shade of trees, a black business car was parked. A man in a well-tailored suit sat upright, taking in everything that had just happened through the car window until the couple's car drove further and further away. The driver, Lao Lu, glanced at the rearview mirror. In the mirror, the man's face was silent and calm, his emotions hidden, making it impossible to read his thoughts. Lao Lu hesitantly asked, "Young Master Yin, should we follow them?"